Tsubasa blinked, surprised by how quiet the world had become. Standing amidst the school courtyard, now shadowed by twilight, he felt small, insignificant beneath the expanse of an endless, starlit sky. The glow of the distant city lights seemed feeble in comparison, only accentuating the brilliance of the stars that twinkled softly above. His breath left him in a wisp of warmth against the cool evening air. It was supposed to be an ordinary day, wasn't it? A regular Tuesday. Yet why did it now feel like this fleeting moment could change everything? "You're staring off into space again, Tsubasa," came a teasing voice to his left. He turned, startled, to find Ayumi standing there, her arms crossed, her eyes bright with gentle mischief. Ayumi Tanaka, the girl who felt like a falling star herself, blindingly out of reach yet impossibly captivating. Her short black hair swayed in rhythm with the light evening breeze, and the delicate clip she wore, a small silver crescent moon, shimmered faintly under the glow of the lamppost nearby. "I guess I just got lost in thought," Tsubasa mumbled, rubbing the back of his neck with that typical sheepishness he hated. Why did it always feel like his words shrank when she spoke? "Lost, huh?" Ayumi chuckled. "Well, don't stay lost for too long. You'll catch a cold if you stand out here daydreaming in this weather." Tsubasa managed a weak laugh, but said nothing. It wasn't like he could tell her what he was truly thinking, that his mind wasn't on the stars or the crisp autumn air, but rather on her. Who could blame him? She had that infectious energy and fearless confidence, capable of lighting up the dullest of hallway mornings or the most tiring of school festivals. And now, as she stood before him, it took everything in him not to let his feelings pour out like an unchecked torrent. "Ayumi," he began softly, the name escaping his lips hesitantly, as though testing its weight in this fragile moment. "Have you ever wanted to—" His thoughts, his courage, all of it was interrupted by a sudden blinding flash of light. Ayumi turned quickly with a laugh. "Shinichi! Again with the camera?" she exclaimed, throwing a hand up in protest. Not far off, Shinichi Nakamura, their mutual friend and amateur photographer extraordinaire, grinned from behind his beloved camera. He held up 2 fingers in a victorious peace sign. "Couldn't resist," he called out. "The scene is just too picturesque. The mysterious stargazer and the impatient moon girl, classic dynamic duo vibes." Tsubasa groaned internally while Ayumi rolled her eyes dramatically. "You'll get busted for loitering so late if you don't watch it, Nakamura," she said, but her tone was playful. Shinichi had that strange ability to diffuse the tension in any situation. It was a blessing and a curse, though Tsubasa wasn't sure which it felt like in this particular instance. All right, Shinichi replied as he slung his camera strap over his shoulder and began ambling toward them. "But seriously, what are you two doing out here alone in the courtyard at this hour? Don't give me that just passing by excuse either. It's much too romantic a setting for that." Tsubasa felt the heat climb to his ears and dared not glance at Ayumi, fearing what her reaction might be. To his relief, and perhaps slight disappointment, she laughed it off. "Honestly, I came to fetch this one," Ayumi said, pointing a thumb at Tsubasa. "He's always spacing out when he's supposed to be helping prep for tomorrow's club activity. Honestly, what were you even thinking about over here?" Tsubasa faltered, searching desperately for a believable answer. "Stars," he managed hastily. "I was just thinking about how vast the night sky is." Ayumi raised an eyebrow, unconvinced, but didn't press any further. Shinichi, however, clapped a hand on Tsubasa's shoulder and leaned in conspiratorially. "Night sky, huh? You sure it wasn't a certain someone on your mind?" Shinichi teased, his voice low enough for only Tsubasa to hear. Tsubasa's sputtering response seemed to amuse Shinichi even more, and he retreated with a smirk before turning his attention back to Ayumi. "Anyway, are you both excited for the school's stargazing event next week?" I hear they're setting up telescopes on the rooftop. Should make for a perfect evening." He nudged Tsubasa pointedly. "That's when you should make your move, buddy." Tsubasa tried to ignore the growing knot of anxious energy in his stomach and instead forced a nod. "Yeah," he said weakly. "Should be great." A week came and went in a blur. By the time the night of the stargazing event arrived, Tsubasa felt as though every nerve in his body had been stretched thin. He stood at the edge of the rooftop, arms resting on the cool iron railing, gazing out at the night sky littered with stars. Below them, the festival hummed with life, the chatter of students, the faint strains of music, and the aroma of freshly grilled food wafting through the air. But up here, on the rooftop, there was a hushed reverence, as though stepping into the presence of the stars had quieted even the most restless of hearts. "It's beautiful, isn't it?" Tsubasa turned to see Ayumi leaning against the railing next to him, her chin propped in her hand as she gazed upward. The silver crescent moon clip in her hair gleamed dully in the soft light of the rooftop lanterns. Standing next to her beneath the endless night sky, Tsubasa suddenly felt even smaller than he had before. "Yeah," he agreed quietly. "Beautiful." For a moment, neither of them spoke. The sound of the world below seemed to fade entirely, leaving only the gentle hum of the cool night breeze and the distant shimmer of the stars. "When I was younger," Ayumi began softly, almost as if speaking to herself, "I thought stars were wishes in disguise. I used to stare out my bedroom window every night and whisper a wish to the brightest one I could find, as if it could hear me." She laughed quietly, shaking her head. "Kids sure know how to dream, huh?" Tsubasa felt his throat tighten, the words forming there caught between fear and longing. He clenched his fists against the railing, hoping to summon the courage he hadn't been able to muster all these weeks. "Maybe," he started, his voice trembling slightly, "maybe kids aren't the only ones who dream." Ayumi looked at him then, her face curious but open, inviting him to continue. The sight of her under the starlight, with her crescent moon clip framing her serene expression, was nearly enough to undo him. "Ayumi," he said, his heart racing louder than any sound below. "There's something I've wanted to tell you for a while now. I think I..." The rooftop door swung open with an echoing creak, cutting through the moment like a sliver of harsh daylight in a dream. Tsubasa turned to see Shinichi entering with a sheepish grin, scratching the back of his head. "Am I interrupting something?" Shinichi asked, too innocent to be genuine. Ayumi waved him off, clearly unaware of the significance of the moment that had just passed. "Not really," she replied, beckoning for him to join them. "Come on, get over here and enjoy the view." As Shinichi approached, chatting about some constellation he'd just read about, Tsubasa's heart ached slightly. But as he glanced back at Ayumi, her laughter soft and genuine as she teased Shinichi about some mispronounced star name, he couldn't help but smile. The stars above them glittered infinitely, endless in their quiet beauty. Perhaps there would be another moment under another sky. Or perhaps this fleeting, imperfect evening was all he needed after all,